and our ability to be in recovery with our own creative voice. And we have here some really creative people. We have healing practitioners, we have artists, we have people who are amazing cooks, people who own businesses. So it's a really creative group, and our time is meant to be deeply restorative. So feel free to work on whatever aspect of the creative genre that you want. So I'll be talking a lot about writing because that's mine, but you can apply it to anything you want, meaning you could be working on a piece of art while we're together, you could be in meditation space. So it's really designed for you to be able to bring in whatever you want. I will have some prompts going and we will have guided pieces, but feel free, please, to veer off script. Okay. So to open, we have a little prayer. Bless the poets, the workers for justice, the singers of heartache, the visionaries, all makers and carriers of fresh meaning. We will all make it through, despite politics and wars, despite failures and misunderstandings. There is only love. So that's the space we're stepping into together. Yummy, yummy. And I will invite each of you to share one thing, if you can, about just one thing you're celebrating this morning as we come together. It could be simple. It could be, mine is the beautiful moon that I saw this morning. So just one thing you're celebrating. And just go ahead and hop in. See how this works when we speak.
So earlier this morning, I went for a walk in my yard and I sat on that canoe for a while. And then I went and ran an errand to get a notebook and a pen for this. And I came back and this beautiful fox was just chilling right at the same spot. So that's what I'm celebrating today.
Fox medicine. Okay. Anybody else want to celebrate?
I'll jump in. I had a loss in the summer, and ever since then, there's a hummingbird that sits on a tree outside my window. And pretty much anytime I look at the window, it's there. And so it was there this morning. We ate breakfast together.
Well, okay. So moon, fox, hummingbird. Anyone else?
I'm celebrating the blue skies and solitude and quiet. It's my celebration for today.
Beautiful.
I guess I want to say life, even though I've got so much ambivalence.
Okay.
I'm just trying to practice gratitude. So I think that's something not to be taken for granted.
Yes. Amen. Okay.
Celebrating shift, an internal shift that's helping external shifts as well.
Okay. So as we come into space, we are celebrating moon, fox, hummingbird, blue sky, solitude, life. Can't read what I wrote. Life, attitude, and shifts. I might have missed one. So just feel into the qualities that we're bringing into this time. I'm going to take just a minute to speak a few minutes about our agreements as a group. Everyone here is an amazing human. I'll just start there. So but you don't know this about each other. So everyone here is amazing. Everyone here is really kind, considerate, trustworthy, and safe. And I also want to just add a few sort of guiding principles. They're not rules, but sacred agreements that I'd like to suggest for our time together. Just so we can be really supportive. So everything that we do here is confidential. Okay. So you might talk with somebody after this about what happened here. That's fine. Keep it about you and just be respectful that everyone here is having their own experience, and agree to not share outside of here. While we are here, I'm going to ask that everyone here is able to give amazing advice, and some of you do it for a living. But I'm going to ask that for our time together, we refrain from that. Everyone here has so much wisdom, but I think as women, we're really conditioned to habitually take care of the other. And I don't want you guys to have to do that for this time. So I want you to be in your own wisdom. That's why I'm suggesting this. So we're not going to give advice. We're not going to ask for advice. This is not a group therapy session. This is a dropping into yourself time. And I ask that we continue that in our breakout groups and in our discussion forum. And it's an interesting practice as women to refrain from that. So some things that you can do instead are just respond warmly with affirmation, with support. You can ask a question, and you might even share something of your story, but we're not fixing each other. Yay for that. Let's see, what else did I want to say? Focusing our comments and our goals on the content of our time together. And so I think that's, speaking with kindness, just the basic containers for our sacred time together. Does anyone want to add anything?
Do we need a notebook?
You can have if you want. If you want to, you don't have to. You can have your computer or however you want to capture material. Art book, notebook. Any other questions before we? So in terms of just format, we'll be together till 11. We'll have an hour break to move our bodies and get some food and take care of our pets or whatever we do. And then we'll come back together. And so that next hour will be more for coaching. So save your big questions for then. And this first part is really for us to deepen together. Any questions? All right. So I want to start with a little poetry. So why poetry and how to listen? Well, I'm a poet. You guys might not know that about me, but I am. That's what my first degree is in. And I love poetry. I think it takes us into a space that is beautiful and open, and we get to play with language. And so I'm going to suggest that you listen with your eyes closed, with your body. And that might be something that you've not practiced since childhood, because we're not really taught to listen with our bodies. And kids naturally do it, but then we get trained out of that. But poetry really is a full body experience, and that can mean whatever that means to you. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, maybe be a little bit in the rhythm and the energy of it. Consider letting your body open, and just notice what you can notice. So this is Joy Harjo. This is from her book, How We Become Human. She's one of my favorite poets. And this is from a very long piece. And it is called Returning from the Enemy. And this is just one part of it. I'll post the whole poem in our little group, so online later. All right. So just let this poem bring you into space together. We sip our cool drinks in the world that is either flat or round, depending on the point of view. Consider the world is neither flat nor round. Think again. Think, says water, as it makes a house for my father. Think, says fire, as it reconstructs the nearest star. Between them is a field of meaning in which there is no word for shame. There is incredible depth to every grain of sand, to every nuance of creature, every gesture in the known and unknown universe. Matter has converse weight in antimatter, destruction and creation in the shell of a little house were father and daughter. I try to appear as the savvy traveler, look smooth and inconspicuous in this new knowledge. No matter, I said lightly, more to myself than to anyone. We will make it through this, past the edge of the wound. I sweat. It's hot in this lush palace of earth and water. We talk as if we were travelers anywhere in the world, alert to tragedy and comedy. We want to know if it's possible to separate and come back together as the river licking the dock merges with the sea a few blocks away. Long-legged birds negotiate the shore for food. I am not as graceful as these souls. I am vulnerable to beauty, to fronds of seagrass tangling in the wound. I'm invisible, and there's an emergency rising from the mud. So, just consider for a minute what lines strike you, how that might inform our time together. What would it mean to consider that the world is not flat or round? So how do we question the things we hold to be true? And let's see if we can find possibilities that aren't in those binary places. And how might we listen, not just to voices, but to everything, so that we can hear everything that's being said. And we're going to create together in this space the invitation. I love the part about the shame. So what if we create a field together here in which shame doesn't exist, where we are free to be in the depths of every grain of sand of who we are? Okay, so that's the invitation that I would like to make for the group. And you guys are, I'd like to hear if anybody wants to say a few words or pop a few things in the chat about anything from that poem, anything it strikes, any response at all. And it's okay if not.
Two images. One was I was really living in when you're talking about the flat of the earth, and when you said fire, I was expecting something very earthly, and when you said the stars, it completely took me up into a different place, which was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I was recently given a bracelet with a lotus on it about how it comes from the mud, and that last line, about how, lotus flowers come from the deepest, darkest mud. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan.
It's been such a long time since I've closed my eyes and had someone read poetry to me that I think I'm just relishing the experience of that. It's very nurturing, and the words were beautiful, obviously.
Yeah.
Something about the and I can't recall the line exactly, about the seagrass
And the one.
in the wound.
Yeah.
That just,
Yeah.
you could feel that.
Yeah. So we're slowing down. We're slowing down. We're creating a world where we can take the time to be in beauty and to read poetry together, right? To retreat from the busyness. So just notice right now, as we're coming into this space, if there's anything that you would like to just set aside. Just creating a boundary around yourself, and just notice if there's something that you want to set outside of your space for a few hours. And just go ahead, and you might see that as a little drawer. I like to see it as a little drawer I can put things in, but just notice if there's anything that would keep you from really dropping into this time. And go ahead and set that aside. And we're going to go into a meditation that is about going deeper into our creative recovery. We're all creatives. We're all recovering creativity. So we have to recover it in order to be the creator of what is next. So I'm going to invite you to lay down or sit, and you can move in and out of screen. I'll try to keep up in the chat, but we're a small enough group that I think we can chat this way. But if you want to go off screen for a minute, feel free. We all have lives that we're leading around this. Okay, so I'm going to get my tea. So just take a few slow breaths here. And again, I'm going to walk us through a guided meditation. If something else arises that feels more important for you, please go ahead and use the time for that. However, I would ask you to put aside problems if you can for a little bit, so that this can be for you. Problems that involve others. And again, just find that part of you that knows how to slow things down. All of you here are very, very smart women, very creative and very active in your minds. And let's find that place underneath that knows how to slow down. You might even take a few slow breaths here. And just invite your awareness to drop from thinking into your body. Into the heart. Just rest in the heart for a minute. Just breathing in and out of the heart. And there might be emotion or content, and that's fine for now. We're just observing and being embodied in our hearts. And then invite your own energy, your own awareness down into the belly. Just be in the body, in the belly. And for some of you, that might feel really good. And for others, there might be challenge. But right now, we're just opening our body, sensing and listening with our bodies. And then just go ahead and feel the energy moving down towards the earth, towards the ground. And just rest in that ground. It might be your feet or the base of your spine, but just find your ground, the place where you and your body connect to the earth. And just rest in the connection with the earth for a minute. You may even feel pulled to grow your own roots here. Rooting down into the earth. And then you can breathe in that earth into your belly. And then on the out breath, release anything that's still trying to shift. So you're breathing in from the deep roots into your belly. And on the out breath, just releasing whatever's trying to leave. Just continue to feel those roots into that mud of the earth, into her womb, just holding you precisely as you are. We're not thinking of any answers. We're just open and listening, receiving from within. It requires a lot of energy to stay out of our embodied vulnerability. So just keep coming back to the body. One of the reasons that we get tired is because we're not in our bodies. It exhausts us. And while you're here, I'd like for you to think about this question. Is there a particular feeling or a part of yourself that you'll do just about anything not to have to feel or be present with? It might be something that's raw or tender or shaky, something that you're hesitant to touch or be touched by. And again, we're just opening our body to receiving that answer. It could come as an image or a voice or a sensation or an event. Just for this moment together, see what it's like to just allow the difficult feelings, the disenchanted parts, the things you might not want to be present to. Just invite them to be present for a minute. What is it you've been turning away from? Keep your breath flowing as you explore that. And what would it be like to provide a temple or a sanctuary for these feelings and parts of you just to be home? In your own mind, see yourself opening up a part of you that can be your own sanctuary and welcoming these difficult feelings or patterns or events. Remembering that the intimacy and connection and aliveness that we all want is found when we're radically whole in the full spectrum. These parts of ourselves, these feelings aren't coming to harm us. They're just coming to be integrated. They're forerunners to our own wholeness, guides to our depths. Arriving, and we're welcoming them right now to just be revealed within our bodies. Who is this visitor? What is this feeling? What is being unlived? How might you tend to them? And what gifts might they bring? And as you're in that beautiful space, receiving the parts of you, I'd like for you to go a little deeper and just invite your own creative spirit, your own connection with creativity to emerge. So my own creativity. Can you hear me? So you're in your sanctuary, you've invited all of you, and now we're inviting that creative power. And you might see that as an image. You might feel your body opening to it. You might hear its words or its song. Just inviting your own creative guide. And just notice the shape that it is in. Is it healthy or tired? Is it flowing? Is there stagnancy? Start to be a student of that creativity. And I want you to go ahead. I'm going to do a little drumming here. And I want you to invite your creative force to come out of any places where it might be stuck, where someone else may hold it, where you may have given it freely or had it taken. So we're going to just recover as much as our own creative life force as we can. Some of you have a journey practice that's, you can journey here. And if you don't, just work with the sound to bring forward to this sacred place inside your full creative potential out of any places that it's ready to come back. So we want you to have as much of it as you can with you. Okay. Coming back into the body, and as you come back into space in our group, see if you can maintain connection with your own creative force. I'm going to work on maintaining this through our time together. And I'd love to invite each of you, if you're interested, and there's never any requirement to share, but I'd love to hear a few words or a sentence about the nature of your own creative power. What you found when you recovered more of that. So I'll start. I recovered a lot out of a corporate structure that I worked in, surprisingly, and from a lot of men that I've engaged with that have held on to some of my creative power. And it's like a really beautiful sort of meadow with flowers and trees and light and birds. It's really, I've never seen it that way. It was really quite beautiful, really integrated. Anybody else? Just, you guys can just hop in as you want to.
Mine was this really interesting kind of water flame. So I drew a little bit of it. I don't know if people can see it. It looks like that.
Mm.
Lots of multicolored. It was really cool. So fiery water.
Can you show that again? Hmm.
And it was big.
Did you say it was a water flame?
Water flame. It was, I don't know. It looked like it was full of water, but it also looked like fire.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mine was just this dark place, but it wasn't like dark in a scary way. It was dark, like safe and restful. And then I had a visitor in there who was actually somebody known to me, who just came and sat with me.
Okay, so dark, safe, restful, with support.
Mm.
I was a little surprised how much of a specific energy kept trying to come into my space and not allowing me to go where I wanted to go. But I finally, it's not that I found a lot of imagery, but I was able to finally create my space, which I guess is the first foundation.
Yes. Yes.
It was a struggle.
And this is a really important thing you were saying. We have to actually tend our creative portals and make sure that it's our energy and that these other forces are not allowed in, either self-generated or other. Yeah.
And I first had to find what helped me was to go back to my life of all the creative forces that I've had. Dance, music, childhood memory, that was my first foundation of why I am who I am. So
Dance, and what were the others?
dance, music, daydreaming.
Okay. So I would definitely include those in your daily practices. Okay. Anybody else?
So mine came to me in a voice before it came to me in a vision.
Mhm.
It said, I've never left you,
Oh,
which is sort of surprising. And then it sort of was it's very swirly, colorful.
mm-hmm.
But I had a hard time pulling it back from other people.
Okay.
Challenge.
Okay, so similar to Jan, it sounds like. Okay.
I could think of people who have it, but I had a hard time.
Knowing how to bring it back.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do something for that for sure. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Mine was, it wasn't so visual. And I am a very visual person, but it feels far away. I've known for a long time that I used to be just creative, like I made a lot of things. And for years now, I've been feeling like music and visual art and dance and all kinds of, things that I used to do, jewelry making, all kinds of stuff. I haven't for a long time. And so just, I realized there was like this little bit of light. I'd seen it. There was different things. There was a bit of a shape of a quality of like a guide. And there was also what I realized was a portal just inviting me. It was just like a little purple light kind of thing. And I was like, oh, right. Just reminding it doesn't need to be effortful. Because I feel like when I've been wanting to reconnect to creativity and feeling like when I try to go back and do stuff, it's like I can't access it so much anymore for a long time now. And just this message of an energy around it and it doesn't have to be hard work. You don't muscle to it. Just like let whatever you're doing be creative. And it showed me, for example, right now my yoga practice does have creativity in it, and that's something that's flowing. So I can drop into that, but really to consider maybe going back and playing piano again, or, doing crafty things with my girlfriends. We've talked about that like on Zoom because they're all very crafty. Just get it, or, different things. So.
Okay, so effortless, the portal, inviting, doesn't have to be hard. And also this like revisiting earlier, that seems to be, I'm hearing that from a few of you. Okay.
I just kept tapping into like, my adolescence where I was wildly creative, even though it was such a tumultuous time, but like high school, college, after there was so much, into and then by my 30s, it was slowing down. So it's been a while.
Okay. Great. Get everybody?
No, me.
We missed someone important.
I first saw 2 images, one of myself at the age of like maybe 6 or 7, and then another one of me when I was about 15. And even though I don't think I felt great at either of those times, both were clear that they didn't need any healing. There was nothing that needed to be done there. And we were sort of together, but then things shifted and I was experiencing myself, not in terms of like my creative energy, but in terms of being a part of creation and what that feels like to be a part of creation and part of something that's being created and part of something that's in flow. And then at the end, there was an image of an owl on my shoulder and of like almost like a painting. I was looking at it closely and it felt like it was from this perspective of a place that I used to play as a child, kind of looking up this hill in the fields towards my house.
Okay. I like that, being a part of, like, we're not separate from this creative field. We are it. It is us. It's all, I love that image that you shared there. So there's a lot of stuff, I mean, that can you all hear the commonalities in all this? The childlike, the power of adolescence, the need to protect, honor, hold, this creative force. It's important that we cultivate this, not just for crafts, but for creative engagement with others, for dreaming our next version of ourselves. And that's why I wanted to start here, because we in the busyness and the caregiving and the things that are happening in the world, we can end up very far away from this key resource that we need. So we're going to keep bringing this creativity back. So the whole time we're working, just keep inviting it to come in more, to become stronger and deeper and wider. We're going to go into some writing. Do you all need a little a 5-minute pee break before, or can we keep going? And keep going? And you guys can take your breaks as you need. I just want to make sure no one's uncomfortable. Okay. So thank you all. That's really we have some really great creative fields here. That would make a nice poem, the words that I just wrote. I'll share it later. I want to just keep us moving because I have a lot of stuff for today. So I want to invite us to do a little bit of writing. And if you're a person who does better with drawing or meditation or doodling, please do that. I'm going to talk about it as writing, but use whatever method works best for you. So just reconnect that creative force. And this is really about writing or exploring for you, for yourself. I want you to set aside, if you have any of these ideas, what anyone else might think, or who you might be doing this for. This is an invitation to do this just for you. That's the reason, right? For you, because we're taking back, we're recovering what is ours. So what would you create if it was just for you? That's the spirit of this. We're not solving a problem. We're not making our next product. What is it like to write something just for you, or draw something just for you? It's a real opener to create that way. So while we're doing this, the next few exercises, I want you to keep moving, either with your pen or your typing or your drawing, or your body, but the goal is to keep moving. Don't worry about completing things, editing things. This is just about being with you, okay? So Rebecca West, who is a really amazing feminist writer, I'm going to share a quote that I love from her. Writers write for themselves and not for their readers. Art has nothing to do with communication between person and person, only communication between the different parts of a person's own mind. Okay, so we're gonna write for just about 4 or 5 minutes. And the prompt that I'm offering is, what is the why in exploring what you want for yourself? Okay, what's the why? What are you claiming? What are you affirming? What are you honoring? What are you giving to yourself? What is the why in what you are doing? Okay. So we're just going to start. I'm going to be right here, but I'm going to let you guys do that for just free write or free.
You give just one example. Or repeat the prompt.
The prompt is, what is the why for you? And yeah, like for me, it's to be, I write to be in connection with the spirit world. I write to be in connection with source.
Okay.
So what is the why in relation to this creative process?
What is the why for you? If you were to create just for you, what is
see.
that about? Yeah, and this is really just think of it as a morning pages kind of exercise, right? Where you just a little bit of free thinking here, and be open to what comes. What is the why in this? What are you called to do? What are you called to create? Why does this matter to you? Okay. Just for a few minutes.
Sorry, can you say,
Whoop. I don't know, I'm not hearing you.
can you repeat the question one last time? I'm still grokking it.
I would really suggest maybe just starting, because the question, I'll put it in the prompt.
Okay, thank you.
What is the why for you? And
Got it.
then writing or art or poetry or anything you might create. And we're going to start now and just see what comes.
Catherine, it looks like you're talking, but you're muted.
All right, sorry, my neighbors started blasting their music. Okay, so I'm gonna, thanks. So I'd like for you to just ask yourself the question or feel into what part of your body or what part of you were just creating from. What was speaking? And just sort of make a little mental note. Could be, your belly, it might be a stressful part, it might be your mind. Just notice. And we're going to do a few more exercises and then we're going to share. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment and place your hands on your heart. And I want you to feel into that heart center, or maybe just move right in. Wherever you're intuitively pulled to connect to your heart. Just feeling that under your hand with your body and bringing your attention there. And I want you to ask your heart the same question. What does the heart have to say about creating your life, creating art? What does the heart want to express? What is the why of the heart? And we're just going to take a few minutes here. So now that we'll do like 3 minutes. And I want you to write down any phrases or images or words that the heart has. So we're writing the why from the heart. And we'll start now. I'll write that in the prompt. And then we'll go ahead and pause the heart writing. And this time I'd like for you to close your eyes and put your hands on your belly. Coming into the belly. Connecting again with your own creative power, your own life force. They're the same. Breathing into the belly and just let that breath drop into the belly. Relaxing the belly. Feeling the rise and fall in the belly. Just connecting to your power. Finding that groundedness, coming into that powerful spot in the body. And again, we're just going to take a few minutes asking our belly the why. Why create? Why write? Why be in connection? What does the belly have to say about creative hungers and longings and what wants to come out of the belly?
Is this upper belly or lower belly pelvis?
Oh, I think whatever you're feeling called into, whatever that means for you, belly. For me, it's whole belly, but I can see that could be a good distinction. Yeah. Okay. And so now we're going to get really fancy and I'm going to try to do these breakout rooms. And I'd like for you, so there'll be 3 people in each little room and we'll have about 15 minutes. So each person will get about 5 minutes to share anything from that exercise that you'd like to share, in particular, noticing the difference in the places that you access when you're doing heart, belly, or when you're not aware. If one person, you guys can just decide this on your own, would be sort of the organizer, leader, timekeeper. And I might pop in and out. So I'm going to click a button. You guys are going to have a little group time. and then we're going to come back together. I hope it works. I practiced. All right.
How much time do you have? Just so
We're going to have 15 minutes. So it'll be about 5 per person. And if you aren't comfortable sharing, that's completely fine. If you want to share something from earlier, it's just a chance to share and hear each other and be witnessed, keeping in mind our guidelines. Okay. You guys ready? See if this works. I'm going to be amazed if this works. Okay. You should be getting a prompt to go into a room. Are you? Oh, wow. Okay, we're starting to come back. It worked. Interesting. Okay. Some are back and some are not back.
Well, we're group one.
Good point. Okay,
I'm so impressed with you. that
Patrice.
You did that.
Okay, so um,
Yay.
I'd like to just hear what that was like for everyone. Anybody want to share all together, or do you all feel complete with that sharing? Observations, thoughts, words, lines you might want to share?
It's a relief to know that I'm not alone in how I feel about some things.
Mhm.
I think a theme was around, we all had our different versions of how we say it, but this sense of connection to all things, that it's not just, whether it's the heavens, one person said, or to creation itself, or the sense of both being fed and releasing at the same time.
Mm.
Connection.
I was struck by how each different voice had each different part of the body had such a different voice and such a different reaction. And it was sort of a similar pattern in each of our body parts, or seemingly similar.
You mean amongst the participants?
Mhm.
How would you name the pattern?
Well, I think the thing, like the heart one was seemed, and please, Rhea and Patrice, correct me if I misspoke for you. I'm not intending to speak for you, but that the heart sort of was very clear about what it wanted. And Patrice and I had a lot of more like trauma related stuff in our belly, like for me, anxiety, and not feeling worthy enough, and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting different, like I'm not, sometimes I'm a little more sciencey. So it's interesting to feel different things in different parts of my body.
And I would definitely suggest for you, Kira, to try art that way and see what wants to come out of the different places. And it's also a good thing to try when you're getting stuck, right? If you're trying to create a life, a solution to a problem or a direction or a business thing or art, shifting to another part of the body I have found to be super helpful for getting unstuck. Okay, anybody else? Any surprises?
Yeah.
I heard some beautiful words. I was able to pop into one group and then I couldn't figure the other one out, but I heard some really poetic things coming out.
I'm really surprised at how much trauma is still there,
Mm-hmm.
despite all the work I've done.
We're going to get more into clearing tomorrow, so never fear. Maybe take a note of what you found.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the belly stuff is very interesting for women. I know personally for me, my heart actually is a really easy place for me to create from and write from and connect with others from, but it can go out of balance where I'm doing the befriending and being too nice thing. And my stomach is just like, cut out all the bullshit and say what you need to say and say it for real and do the real thing. And I can get into a lot of like fear and stuff around that. But it's interesting to really bring those two voices together. So of course we want to be able to be holistic, but this exercise is just to bring awareness to all of the different parts of us and how we want to embody them all, right? And be with them all. Okay. Anybody else? Anything? Okay. So thank you all. That was fun. So let me just see where we are. So just really reconnecting for a minute here with your creativity and your own life force, your own power. Just reestablish that connection. Maybe notice if you want to make any adjustments, if you want to bring any more elements in from what we just discovered. See how that creative force feels now and if it looks or feels any different. And we're going to just do a little bit more self writing, exploration, journaling, art, whatever you want to use. And I will also put a prompt here, but feel free to use this time to work on anything that is unique to you. So let's do about 15 minutes, just individual work. I'll put the prompt in the chat and I'll say it. Okay. Where'd the chat go? So now that we're creating and we're in that flow and we're in connection, the next thing we want to do is begin to let it have voice. So for this one, let it come from wherever you would like. There's no restrictions, but you might try writing from the different parts or moving from the different parts or drawing from the different parts, but tuning into that creative field. What is it that wants to be expressed or come through me now? This is how we're going to start moving our life forward. So this is connecting with the creative vision, and just keep the pen moving, keep movement happening, use all the time. If you get stuck or upset, just say that on the paper. So we're just going to start letting this force come through, okay? Without editing, without figuring it out, without the inner critic. This is raw content coming through you, okay? You guys all set?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's do, does 15 minutes feel enough or do you guys want 20?
"15 is good."
Okay, let's go. I gave you guys a little playlist too. I had fun making it. If you want to play some music while you're doing this, it's in the chat. Okay, I'm going to do this too. Okay, let's take just another minute. And then we're going to do another smaller share so that you can all have a chance to share what just showed up. So we're going to do the same thing exactly. Somebody is the leader. Do your 5 minutes. We'll come back and then we'll close up this session. So just share anything you want about what just came through. And if not, you don't have to. If it's still coming through and percolating, that's fine too. So here we go into our groups. Yay. Is that happening? Yeah, here we go. Mhm. Mhm.